Years ago today, an Arctic blast sent Texas into a crippling freeze. After just a few hours, the Texas power grid began to fail. Hundreds of people died and economic damages topped $130 billion. The question now is, have we done enough since then to prevent it from happening again? It was a Valentine's Day most Texans will never forget. A record-breaking winter storm putting every county in the state under a winter storm warning. A novelty at first until the power began to fail and the state's electrical grid became overwhelmed. Millions of Texans were left in the dark. People froze and pipes burst. The politicians blamed each other, but as it turns out, they were all to blame because long-needed upgrades to the entire system were never mandated by the legislature. Both the power plants themselves and the energy supply to keep the lights on all failed. Lawmakers have now spent the past 2 years overhauling the grid, and according to one of the state's top energy experts, they have made significant strides.
So the good news is we made progress. The power plants are more reliable now. There's more scrutiny. There's more mechanisms in place and ongoing discussion about how to make the power sector more reliable. We haven't had the same kind of attention on the gas sector. And so as long as our homes or those power plants use gas, that might remain a weak link in the system.
But Weber says consumers also need to help the grid by using energy more wisely, especially in the winter, reducing demand by conserving energy, by more efficient building codes and appliances, even turning non-essential appliances and machines off. Weber says one of the biggest reforms would be for Texas to tie into the two other major power grids covering the western and eastern halves of the U.S.
We've chosen to be isolated from the other grids in Texas just to avoid federal oversight, which to me is kind of funny because we deal with federal regulators all the time for oil and gas and nuclear and biomass, you name it. But for some reason, we decided we're not going to do that for electricity. And in the process, we cut ourselves short of market opportunities to sell wind and solar to neighboring states who would like it, but might have trouble building it as cheaply as we can build it.
Now, Weber believes that joining forces with the rest of the nation is not only doable, but ultimately profitable for Texas. But the politics of independence is a fickle phenomenon, at least until the next time the grid fails.